Hey guys, Stel here and welcome back to Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. Today a mod showcase. This is the Naval Arms Race mod and it has just released into its alpha state. Keep in mind it's an alpha, which means there will be bugs, there will be some things that don't quite work as well, but I wanted to showcase it anyway. Because it adds new nations, and I think that's incredible because I haven't seen that ever with any given mod. You used to always have like the standard nations. The Chinese, the Portuguese, sorry, not the Chinese. The Chinese, yes. We have the Spanish, the Empire, Japan, Austria, Hungary, Italy, Russia, United States, Germany, France, British. The Greek are here. The Chile Republic, the Argentina Republic, Brazil, Ottoman Empire, the Dutch Empire, the Portuguese Empire. These are going to give you very, very different experiences. Let's say I'm going to start with 1910 Dutch. Let's see what we get. After 40 minutes of generating the map, good lord, Dreadnoughts, get a grip. Here we are. You're looking at the Netherlands, and not just the Netherlands, because we also, of course, have a colony. Over here, we have quite a lot of, let's say, additional Dutch territory, and all of this is generating at least some income. It better does, because you're also going to need to defend your colonies. And this goes not just for the Dutch, but also for those other nations. And those other nations are in here too. We have northern Brazil under command of the Brazil Empire. Over here we have Venezuela, of course, but if you look a little further to the west, there is Chile, there's Argentina. All these other nations are now a factor. Let me scroll through the list. Of course, you're going to have very sizable differences between the economies, and this is going to definitely make these nations interesting to play, as well as you have a lot more to look at in the diplomacy screen. Just imagine being at war with the whole world now. You got the Ottoman Empire. This rate, at least in this safe economy, 82 billion. They are classed as a constitutional monarchy, and all of these have their own stats and debuffs, as you can imagine. We have the Russians, as usual. We have the Dutch here with an economy of 44 billion. Argentina, 30. Greece, this is going to be potentially even more difficult than Spain, because you have an economy of 10 billion. Spain, in this case, 30 billion. And I just finished up a Spain campaign, and I kind of ran away screaming because my economy just imploded. You are still a constitutional monarchy, so you got a nice naval budget, but your GDP growth is kind of negative by default. So that's something that you'll have to contend with. As for the Portuguese, 20 billion, Chile, 16 billion, and the Brazil, 23 billion. All of these all have their own, let's say, their own different types of hulls. I'll be reading a little bit from the patch notes here, because that is the easiest way to go about it. Greece has cruisers from Italy, battle cruisers from Germany. They have destroyers and torpedo boats from the British, and battleships from France and USA. They got small Italian guns, medium French guns, and big American guns. Notice for Greece, recommended only for hardcore players. Portugal has ships and guns from Britain. You got the Netherlands with a mix of German and Austrian hulls and guns. No super ships, so anything beyond 60 tons. Because of shallow waters in your home ports. Important colony in the Far East needs protection, as I have mentioned. The Ottoman Empire are a mix of German and British hulls and guns. Argentina features American capital ships in general, with some from Germany, France, and Italy. Italian heavy cruisers and British light cruisers, destroyers from the Brits, France, and Germany, and guns are a mix from Italy, USA, German, and British. They start only with one port. Oh dear. That is going to make Argentina look like a very, very dangerous enterprise. Because if somehow this port gets taken down, and thus your nation of Argentina gets invaded, it's GG, you're done. And I have seen AI players, if you want to call them players, do invasions. It is not unheard of. In what was it, Spain campaign, they did an invasion here in Morocco, which was, I think, at the time of French territory. Anyway, we also have the Brazilians, full British with some late-era American destroyers, and the Chileans have capital ships from the French, that is French pre-dreadnoughts until the 1900s. After that, it's mainly British battlecruisers, battleships, with some German-American in the mix, Remaining classes mainly British, with some Italy and Germany on the mix in late era. Guns are British, German, and French. So we have a lot to play around with in this mod. They're all going to have their own strengths and weaknesses. If I'm looking at, for example, Argentina and Brazil, these are going to be just nemesis, I think. The rate at which these can potentially invade each other is dangerous. If I would be playing as Brazil or Argentina, I would want quite a lot of army logistics. And seeing as at least Brazil has 2 provinces, that shouldn't be too hard. Just max out your transport capacity. Argentina has an army logistics of 100,000, but an army of 29k. Brazil has 118k. So, yeah, I suppose it's possible for Brazil to invade Argentina. Whether they'll immediately get it, I doubt. But, well, if you get a decent amount of army logistics for Brazil, you should be able to do a pretty good job. As for how I would play Chile, it's potentially even worse, because you're looking at probably a worse economy. Where's Chile? I scrolled past it, didn't I? Yeah, here we are. You got a 20,000 man army, but a 79% army logistics. So you're right about on par with Brazil and Argentina. And I'm taking Brazil as 14% of 118k. As for expansion, well, you could start going for American territories or British territories here if you're eager for more territory, but be aware, they're not that valuable, and they might be a little bit more difficult to defend, because you'll need a sizable fleet just to make sure your colonies here don't get harassed. As for Brazil, maybe expand a little bit more to the north. Take Suriname from the Dutch, take French Guiana from the French, take British Guiana from the British. Yes, it's all very creative. Take some territory here up until the point where you just run into the US. And good luck with that. As for the Dutch, I think you'd better stay cozy with the Germans or they'll come visit you. And seeing as land invasions are still something in this game that you just have to put up with, it's going to be very difficult, I think, if you're not best of friends with Germany. You have your own port here in Amsterdam. The problem that I see with that is that your navy is so close to German shores that it might clash with it. This can lead to all sorts of conflict and, well, kind of the inevitable invasion. Seeing as I am playing as the Dutch, what are we looking at for the tension with the Germans? I'm looking at neutral with everybody, nothing ups or downs. Good. So my first order of business would be cozy up to the Germans. Make sure that these people don't get any funny ideas of, hey, that's a nice little country over there. Shame if something happened to it. Because I think the West German army of 192,000 is going to have not that many issues, rolling over an army force of 803. We'll ride in on our bicycles and we will fight very bravely, very briefly. As for the army at large, we got 19k with an army logi of 37, so it's not spectacular. As for the areas over here in the Eastern Med, you can see that the Ottoman Empire is enormous, and very noteworthy is that they control the Suez Canal, because they get Egypt. This is going to allow you to, well, to some extent, and to a fairly important extent, dictate which ships do and do not get into the Mediterranean, simply by going to war with them. So if you have a situation where you're at war with, I don't know, the British, and they don't actually have any ships in the Med, you can pretty easily take Valletta off of them, and, well, then Gibraltar, and you just block everything. In this case, I think if you control Suez and Gibraltar, the only thing that the Brits could do is try to attack in Yemen or any of these other, let's say, slightly more offlandish territories. I think the Ottoman Empire is a pretty strong start, especially because your borders... No, you got Montenegro over here as a bit of a, a demilitarized zone between you and the Austro-Hungarians. If you're able to cozy up to the Austro-Hungarians, you can have a very powerful bloc. Together you start dividing up Italy, and then it's on to Spain and France and, well, potentially Russia. But Russia is such a difficult nation to play that I don't really expect a lot from them. I wouldn't be surprised if the Ottoman Empire already has a better economy. Like, we're looking at 57 billion there. Yeah, 82 billion there. Army Logi 100, sorry, Army Force 144k with 100% logistics, and the Russians have 597. But sorry, 579k, but it's only 20% funded, so your army's not going to do that well. Doesn't mean the Russians won't constantly try to invade, but I don't think that the Ottomans are going to have that much of a difficulty to attack in return. Portugal. Portugal, I think, is going to be interesting to play because you got your Spanish neighbor, and this can lead to some sparks. Much like the Dutch, I'd say cozy up to them to make sure you survive. Otherwise, they can and potentially will invade you from several different directions. Your army force is 33k, but Spain's already 43k, and they got another 37k standing by. As for at least this start, and again, you can start in any area you want. Your army logistics is 26%, 37k. The Spanish is 147k at 33. So either you find a way to very, very quickly up your army logistics, probably by just building more transports and or navy, or find a way to cozy up to Spain because you're already starting at a deficit. You're going to have issues. They won't be easy. And the last one, I think, Greece. Interesting. Very, very, very difficult. This is bordering the Ottomans. I think southern... Why is northern Greece not even considered Greek territory? Well, at least maybe 1910, maybe not yet. If you start in a different area, you might get some different territories, some different swaths of terrain. It's definitely going to be difficult to defend against the Ottoman Empire. Not only is your economy very tiny compared to theirs, like it's 1/8. They have that, 82 billion with an army of 144,000, which is fully supplied with logistics. Yours is 88%, but it's 16k, almost 17. And your economy is 10k, or 10b rather, 10 billion. So you're going to have a very hard time keeping the Ottoman Empire off of you. As for invasions, that is maybe where you can... Well, it's going to be difficult. It's maybe where you can get some stuff done. For example, the ports of Durazzo and Avlona are fairly fragile, so park 100k off there and invade Albania. Invading northern Greece is going to be a bit more difficult, but it's only 34k, so bombard it a few times and then walk in. You might be able to start conquering stuff, but you'll first have to defeat quite a sizable fleet by the Ottomans. If this were the case and you're playing as Greek, you got 13 cruisers, a bunch of torpedo boats, and even some submarines. For a total of 32 ships, and you're fighting off 63 ships, submarines, torpedo boats, battleships, battle cruisers. Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that. If it were possible to fight in terrain, such as around islands, I think the Greek would be a very, very nice nation to play. Especially if you could build torpedo boats up to 1940, but unfortunately that is not the way that the game is played. Anyway, that is the mod, at least with the nations, but it adds a whole lot more stuff. Because that is just, let's say, the base thing that they added with this version. Of course, you also got changes to the guns, you have changes to components, giving you new historical options with a lot more options to choose from when it comes to, for example, shells. Ship design. Ship stability has been reworked, being a lot easier to get stable ships. As an indirect effect, the AI also benefits from this, so expect to fight more capable ships. When it comes to battles, torpedo evade range is at 1500 meters, as opposed to 13,500 meters in vanilla. This is definitely going to make torpedoes more interesting to use, but they will also take longer to reload to prevent spamming. As for the AI, I'm just skipping over some stuff here. AI ship design logic reworked to use more main guns for most ships, bigger secondaries but fewer to lower the chance of seeing a gun firing arc blocked by another gun. And then for the campaign, you got economy reworks, at least minimized the snowballing effect in later years and to make decisions about spending more important. The impact in the GDP for a country at war is now less impactful, which should help the AI nations to stay at war. Yeah, because you want the AI nations to stay at war to make sure their economy doesn't grow. If you are at war, you're going to be in trouble. When it comes to GDP and army modifiers, differences from the type of governments are smaller now. So it doesn't really matter if you're a full democracy or a full republic, you're still going to have pretty much the same type of performance. Noteworthy, as opposed to the Dreadnought improvement project that you might have seen on one of my versions of the campaigns, this one does have submarines and mines, subs range limited to more realistic values. Now, subclasses and base of operations will be more important. Sub-descriptions updated, minefield size nerfed around ports, and it takes longer to reach the maximum size. Vastly decreased minesweeper capability. So by the looks of it, if you are playing as the Greek, just going with a bunch of mine-laying ships might be feasible. Just mine the shit out of your ports and wait for the Ottoman Empire to sail right into it. And they might find that they have a few more holes in their ships than they left with. There's also new modern torpedo boats for all nations. Look at that. Unlocked in 1920. All modern destroyer hulls packages were reworked to offer a unique design language for most nations. Many new hulls are added to offer the possibility to build historical ships and design proposals, such as the Northampton and Portland class cruisers. You got the Bretagne class battleships for the French. You got the German light cruiser class 4 to better represent the Magdeburg, Karlsruhe, etc. I think it's a very, very, very extensive mod. And on the one hand, I'm eager to play it. On the other hand, I'm not going to, because I just finished the campaign. I said, I'm going to take a break from this game. If I jump right back in, I don't think it'll be the most enjoyable content. So, as for the mod, you can find it linked down below in the description. Be advised, I am not doing any kind of tech support or installation questions on this mod. You can post those to the comments or to the forums on the mod itself. That's where you can get help on how to install the mod, how to run into, or what to do when you run into bugs. I found the installation to be pretty easy. It's a little more involved than the Dreadnoughts improvement project, but not by much. So, plenty of nations. Give this mod a try if you want to. The Naval Arms Race mod. I think it has very, very much to offer. Thank you for watching. Hope you all enjoy the mod. Let me know what your thoughts are down below, and I'll see you soon for more videos.